You ought to know tonight is the night to let it go.
Go
Put on a show.
show.
I wanna see how you lose control. So leave it behind, 'cause we have
How
a night to get away.
anyway.
So come on and fly with me as we make our great escape. So baby, don't worry, you are my only. You won't be lonely, even if the sky is falling down. You'll
Down,
be my only, no need to worry. Baby, are you down, 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 down,
down.
down, down? Ooh.
Damn, that was long. That was really freaking long.
Bro, that was my first song in like 3, 4 weeks, man. Had to come out with a banger.
Oh, damn, you're coming out
I
with.
can hear the rust in my voice. People are
Oh
gonna be like, "Yo, this dude is off tone." I was like, "I know, 3, 4 weeks, no practice, but we getting after it again."
no, that was fire. That was fire. What's up with you, man? How's everything been?
Dude, I'm excited because it's the first of the new month, right? July 1st. And every time the month resets, you're back at zero. Also, too, I was thinking, dude, we're officially halfway through the year, bro. 6 months have gone by in 2025, right? Holy shit. And I think it's always like a good time for me, at least, to like kind of sit back and reflect on like, cool, like this is all the progress that we made so far. I think a lot of times, like as business owners, we're just like so focused on like, hey, like short-term growth that we almost kind of forget to kind of zoom out and like, holy shit, like compared to what I did from January to June of last year, like we actually did pretty good. But a lot of times in the day to day, I'm just like, holy shit, like we've got all these things going on. But it's good, man. I always like these like times of reflections at the beginning of the month.
What is something you reflected on that you're like, man, that was pretty freaking dope.
Dude, I would just look at top line revenue. For me, that's always like a big leading indicator of kind of where we're at. So last year, I was looking around it. I think consistently from January to June of last year, we were sitting pretty consistently around 65 to 70K. And then this year, we're sitting pretty consistently for one of our locations from 95 to 105, pretty consistently. So I look at it and it's like, oh, sweet. Like we actually like added on, a consistent like 30K to one of our locations. Like that's dope. But a lot of times, like, it's just like, holy, how do I optimize this one thing? We've got this problem coming up. I got this one fire coming up. So yeah, I think that's a good lesson for you guys out there. Like, zoom out, compare yourself to where you were last year, and you'd be surprised. And don't forget to give yourself a pat on the back.
No, for sure. I shout out to Natty Bondasak, my guy. He's like our older brother, but I remember he says
We should get him on the podcast sometime, man.
we gotta get Natty.
Yeah,
He's a dad now, bro. So
yeah,
he
busy
got
guy.
busy guy. But Natty said some shit to me. He was like, "Bro, you're doing it wrong. You're comparing yourself to last month opposed to comparing yourself to last year,
Yep.
right?" It's like inevitably everyone has slower months, so like slower months are part of the game. And in order to feel better about the slower months, it's like, have you improved? Like if I look at this June versus last June, have I improved, right? And that's kind of what you want to measure yourself up against. If you're going to be like, oh, I know like February, March, April, May, June are like killers for us. Like we're gonna always do really well. July and August tend to slow down a little bit. So like instead of being like, okay, how's July compared to June? I'm gonna be thinking, how's this July versus last July? How's this August versus last August? And get a
Yeah.
better idea of like how we're typically doing as a clinic.
Another good thing that you guys can track as well too is aside from revenue, track like how how much peace and like just like chill are you like in the month, because a lot of times you can have the same revenue, but if you just like feel a lot more at peace, you don't have as many fires you got to put out, like things are just rolling. Maybe you're not in the clinic as much, right? I know, like, dude, Andy, you just had a killer month, man. Like, I think you saw like 25 visits all of last month, man, and you
Yeah.
guys, continue to do really, really well revenue wise. Like, that's just like I think a huge win as well too. So, yeah, I think a lot of times if we have a lot of different variables that you can use to track progress versus just one big one, such as like top line revenue, then you can always find ways to feel encouraged and not be so pessimistic. Right?
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think there's like there's so many ways to measure success, and like one of the things is that like I'll kind of break down something quick. It's like over the past like 3 to 4 years, our revenue hasn't like insanely skyrocketed, right? Like it wasn't like a lot of growth over the past 3 years, but I've worked less and less in the business every single year, which has been
Yeah.
awesome. And it's also like I also have a different thing that I'm also kind of building, which is moment education. So it's like, all right, we started off boots to the ground, everything in the clinic. And then eventually it was like, okay, this revenue has stayed pretty stable, despite the fact that I'm not seeing quite as many patients. And I've been able to build something else on top of that, which is moment education. And now it's kind of getting to a point where I'm realizing, and you start to make the shift where it's like, I'm very comfortable with the amount of revenue that we're making and the money that we're making. So it's now just more so like everything that comes back in, how do we reinvest it so I can keep this time, right? I can keep this piece. Granted, there's always gonna be times where you have to go out there, put a couple of 12 to 16-hour days in. But you don't want that to be like the absolute norm. You don't want like to look at your calendar every single month. It's like, oh, 12 to 16 hours every single day. Eventually, I think the sweet spot is like 4 to 6 hours of like deep work, and
Hmm.
then like the remainder of the 9 hour day with like learning, right? Like for me now, it's like I want to focus on like 4 hours of like deep work, 4 hours of just like learning new shit. And like for me, the theme for July is like I was talking to Peter, I was like, I just want to get better at landing pages. Like I learned a decent bit probably 2 years ago, but now it's time to like sharpen the sword again, learn from somebody else, and like see if there's like nuances that I might have missed, or like as you start to get better at entrepreneurship, you have more experience under your belt, and you'll get different things from taking the same exact course again sometimes.
Yeah, sure, man. I think as long as you're always looking to optimize one little thing within the business, like eventually it will continue to move the needle forward and forward. And like a good example, and this is a perfect segue into what we're talking about today, is our discovery call script. Like, dude, I've gone through our discovery call script like so many different times, optimized it, revamped it, to see like, hey, what converts the best, and how can we also simplify it enough so that we can bring on like somebody who doesn't have a healthcare background, maybe more with a sales background, just plug and play them into the script, into the sequence, and then have them convert leads from there. But yeah, man, let's get into it today, guys. We're talking all about the discovery call script.
Oh man, um, where do we even start? I think the first thing you got to do, it's like you just got to listen to potentially some things in the background, right? And being in New York, it's like we'll hear some loud noises right in the background, or like we'll hear someone that's moving. It's like, oh man, it sounds like you're really trying to get somewhere. What's going on? How, like where you headed to? You want something to kind of break that mold, and like just trying to get to know someone on a deeper level. Because like, oh yeah, I'm heading to so and so, or maybe I'm headed to work. Oh, what do you do for work? Like do something to kind of get the conversation going. But the first thing I listen to is like, what's in the background, right? Because if I can hear something in the background, I'd be like, let's break that down. The other secret that I like to use is like in New York City, we have so many people from all different parts of the world. I'm like, hey, you got an Idaho area code. What's up with that? Like, where you from originally, right? So using someone's phone number, zip code, the background noises, any other tips for you? Like, I'm assuming like that's what you do too, right? Like try to get like some banter or something going.
Dude, so believe it or not, we don't. We actually roll right into it. Yeah, so the rapport, we actually do maybe a little bit more of that on the eval.
Mhm.
But that's actually a really good tip that I'm gonna put into our script, man. Listen to what's in the background and like make maybe a little bit tips or conversation based on that. But no, a lot of times, like once we get on the call with somebody, we just roll right into it. Hey, like I saw you opted into our website, had a couple questions on what's going on with this, like tell me a little bit more about what's going on, and we kind of just roll right into it. For us, I think you can kind of go about it a couple different ways. For our SDRs, because they pound through so many different calls a day, we really try and have them just kind of condense each discovery call into about like no longer than 10 to 15 minutes. So we actually just try and get right into the meat and potatoes of things, and then save like the more rapport building for the PTs. But I think if you're somebody who maybe like you're the PT and you're just starting out, maybe you don't have an SDR, maybe you don't have as many leads you're calling a day. I think like having building up a little more banter and kind of rapport at the initial beginning, and maybe even extending out your discovery call, right? I know we have a guy in our program that does a discovery call for about like 30 minutes, and he converts like at around 80% close rate from the discovery call. And I think that's great if you have that time within your bandwidth, like 100% work that in.
Yeah, I think if you're doing upwards of like 20, 30, you know, over like 20 or 30 calls a day, and you can't have that much banter, right? Because like 20
Right.
calls, 30 minutes per call, that's 10 hours. Like you're not going to have any time for anything. But the banter doesn't need to be super long, right? Like keep the banter like 1 to 2 minutes. And from there, like I kind of go into, well, I don't take any more discovery calls. But typically what we do, it's like we do a pre-frame, right? Say, hey, appreciate you for getting on a call, and our goal is to qualify the lead, right? And let them know that they're being qualified. And all qualifying means like appreciate you for getting on a call. We're not the right physical therapist for everyone, but we want to get to know you a little bit better to make sure that whatever it is that you're dealing with is something that we can help you with. And if it is, then we'll start to talk about the logistics. But more importantly, we just want to know as many details as possible so
Mm.
that we can make sure that you're in the right place. So we'd love to hear your story. So it's something along those lines of like, this is what to expect. This is what we want to know. And I think when you say like, "Hey, we're not the right physical therapist for everyone," they immediately like let their guard down. Like in New York City, everyone's just being so to all of the time, and I think that's
Mm.
one point to make. Right, you have to know your typical demographic of who's coming in. A lot of stuff that works in a lot of different states and cities don't work in New York City. It's just different out here. Like people are just they can sense bullshit. You got to be really, really adaptable. And I think one of the things that we do to let New Yorkers let their guard down is like we're not trying to sell you anything. We're just trying to get to know you. And if it's the right, if it's the right thing, then we'll talk about the logistics. But for now, what's more important is before I can answer any other questions, what's your story?
Cool. Little technical difficulties, but we're back. So yeah, I was just telling Andy, I'm currently hotspotting off of my phone because we don't have internet set up yet. But yeah, going back to kind of what Andy was saying, like just letting them know, hey, like we're not the right fit for everyone, being detached from this sale, and that's totally fine. Our goal, right? And the whole, and that's why people call it a discovery call, is to really discover and figure out, hey, like, is this even something that we can help you out with, right? A lot of times, like maybe if they start going through, some of their symptoms and some of their stories, maybe like they don't need physical therapy, maybe they need to go in ER, all right, or maybe they need to go see another provider who's maybe a specialist that it's something that you aren't able to help them out with. But we won't be able to know that until we actually get to know their story. So the first part, understanding their story, where are they currently at, and where are they trying to go? Any specific good questions that you like to ask, kind of in this stage, to kind of pull out specifics, or do you really kind of just like let them have the floor for like 5 minutes or so, really kind of let everything out?
Yeah, I let people like there's a couple of things, right? And this is where like you have to be kind of a chameleon. Like you have to understand someone's tone. There are some people that are like you can almost hear them talking. They're like nervous people,
Hmm.
right? And there's some people that are just tell you as much as they want. So it's like for the people that are nervous, I'm like, hey, like, we'd love to hear your story, and don't worry, like we have time. Like I don't want you to feel rushed. Like I just want you to make sure that you feel like you've given me all the information you need. So start from wherever you feel like it's comfortable. And then some people, you pick up the phone and they're like, rah, rah, like, they're like a bro. It's like, yo, dog, let's get it. Like, how can we help? Like, talk to me. Right. So it's like you have to adapt to the person on the other side of the phone. But I start with a very open question. I just want to like start from wherever you think is comfortable, and then I'll try to figure out if there's anything else I need to add or if I need more details on top of that. But is there anything that you kind of go with?
Bro, that's so funny that you just kind of mentioned, hey, like based on the tonality and how they are speaking, you kind of match that, because I think that's something that you can't really put that on a script. It's something that you just have to kind of innately go through and adapt to the more of these discovery calls that you go through. But a lot of times, people refer to like an advanced sales technique as mirroring, right? And that can refer to as both tonality or how someone talks, But in terms of like asking specific questions, a lot of times people, depending on how open people are, if they're super open, they just kind of give you everything, then that's incredible. Won't need to really ask more specific questions. But a lot of times, if they maybe give like more like one word of sentences, then sometimes you need to be a little more strategic with, getting more specific with the right questions so that you get the answers that you do want. But really, the main gist of kind of the first bulk of the discovery call that we teach our team to go through is really just, hey, like, what are their current struggles and what are their goals? What do they need to get to? And what obstacles and barriers is currently preventing them from getting to their end goals? Right. So, a lot of times people calling in, hey, like, got this, chronic issue going on. Okay, cool. Like, how long has it been going on for? What are we trying to get back to doing? What have you tried so far? Right? I think that's a really good question to ask because it kind of allows you to understand and triage, hey, do we need to have this insurance conversation or not? And like if people have already gone through like traditional insurance and they're still seeking outcomes and results because they haven't gotten that, cool. I probably know that we don't necessarily need to go as in depth into the out of network versus in network conversation. If they say, oh, I don't know, I haven't really tried anything yet. Found you guys on Google or I saw an ad. Mess this up maybe like a week ago. Cool. We probably know that we need to have a little bit more of a thorough, in-depth conversation of like, cool. Well, this is our approach. This is how we're different. So a lot more education on that. So I think asking them, hey, like what we've tried so far is a really good one that we like to kind of like triage out.
I love it. And then again, Peter and I are just riffing, right? Like the goal isn't for you to copy us completely and be like, oh, this is what Peter does, this is what Andy does, this is what I need to do. It's like, oh, this makes sense for the type of people that I talk to on a day-to-day basis. This makes sense for the type of people that I market to. And there's so many ways to do this, and it'll always change. But the most important part that Peter just brought up is where is somebody now? Right? Because I don't think you can change until you admit that where you are needs to be something that needs to change, right? Because
Yep.
some people be like, oh yeah, this I got a little bit of pain, but it's like, all right, you got a little bit of pain, but like you're obviously on this call, so like there's something worrying you. You got to dig a little bit deeper. So a couple of things that I'll utilize to dig a little bit deeper is like you just say their last word of the sentence with the question, and it could be something as simple as like, yeah, I've got like a little bit of pain, when I'm golfing. I'm like, huh, golfing, and you just stay quiet. And they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's when I do this swing, blah, 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 blah. And it's like on the follow through, I feel like it feels like this thing just feels so tight. My back gets like almost a little jacked up. And you just go, jacked up. And they just keep going. But the skill is repeating the last sentence in a kind of like a inquisitive tone. And then that'll get them to talk more. So even if someone's giving you like one word answers, like, hey, why are you calling? I'm just in like in a ton of pain. Ton of pain, and then just pause. Let them keep talking. But you do that and you get good at that. All of a sudden, people start spilling the beans, right? Because when you have a question like this, it can't be answered like yes, no. Like they have to give more detail, and that's kind of the goal. It's like you want as much detail as possible. Do you do stuff like that as well? the the whole like creating urgency, it's like it sounds ridiculous, and when you first start doing this, it's like, why am I repeating the same exact thing to this person? Right. I just kind of speak from my experience. It's like it seems ridiculous to do this because they've just literally told me this, but it does two things. When you repeat what someone else has said to you, it shows the other person that you're actually listening. And then the other thing is they get to admit these things, right? So when they say it again and they agree with you, they're admitting to the pain again. And it makes that cut feel a little bit deeper, right? So it's like, okay, Peter, let me know if I'm hearing you right, but it sounds like this back pain is preventing you from deadlifting, and like deadlifting is the one thing that you look forward to every single week. So it's really been like bothering you because you just feel like you're getting weaker every single week that you're not deadlifting. Yes, it's like you're just admitting to this, right? And all of that just makes that pain feel so unbearable that it's like you're just pumping someone up, and it's like, okay, let's do this. Like, how do I change, right? What other ways do you kind of create that pain, that gap, and make people feel like, okay, I really need help? Yeah, the one snippet or one bit I'll add, and this is less about the discovery call, but more so about the evaluation process, right? When I go into eval, the one thing I always ask is like, okay, we're going to do our due diligence. I'm going to be going out there, assessing things, building a plan, and like kind of connecting the dots for you, showing you what's up. But is there something that you want to know by the end of this, right? Like, is there a question that I need to answer for you so that I can, best serve you? And what all that does is help me frame everything that I'm doing within session around solving that question, right? And a lot of times when people come in, they don't have a ton of urgency. So what you can do is you can create these kind of conditional guarantees. It's like, listen, I don't think you're going to need surgery, but that's only if we address X, Y, Z, right? Because what people do is like, oh, I don't think you're going to need surgery based off of what I found today. And then person goes, okay, perfect. I don't need surgery. I don't need to change anything, right? But see, I don't think you're going to need surgery, but you need to address this, right? But if you don't address this, then yeah, sure. I think down the line you're going to have more aches and pains come up, and you might get to the point where you're going to need a surgery. But we found so many things that we can work on that can take stress off this area and start to build resilience. And if we address these things, I don't think you're going to need surgery. So you got to create some sort of conditional guarantee, and that's the thing that you're kind of thinking about. Um, has your maybe on a call and then transitioning to something like an eval, if you want if you want someone to really commit. I don't know, I got to think it through like what that looks like in the phone call. I don't think you can necessarily give someone a conditional guarantee in a phone call, but you can start to position that that's an expectation that they can be met during the eval. And that one thing that you guys might gloss over, right, is the fact that the first thing Peter does is, I agree. Like, I totally get it, right? Like, if you go like, no, this is gonna be the best money you'll ever spend, they're gonna be like, well, you're gonna tell me that this is gonna be the best money you ever spend. It's like you gotta agree with the other person, and then that's gonna let their guard down. And then when they see that you have empathy and stuff for the situation that they're in, they're willing to give it a shot. And that's all you need, right? If you really think that you can help someone, they come in for the eval, boom. It's so much easier to sell on the eval than it is on the discovery call. I'm telling you that right now, right? Because the discovery call, you really get to show your magic on I mean, on the eval, you get to show your magic. On the discovery call, you're literally just trying to convince someone to get through the door. Once they get through the door, they're pretty committed to this process already. Other things now, when you've got the gap and you figure out where they're at, other things that say, what have you tried in the past, and what did you like and what did you not like about it? Chances are, if they're talking to you, there's not much that they like, but there's just shit ton of things that they don't like, right? And when they're listing these things in the back of your head, you're gonna collect these thoughts on the side, right? Because when you create your offer, it's like, don't worry, it's not gonna be like that fucking cookie cutter approach where you're seeing like 3 to 4 patients. You're gonna get a program that's updated every whatever the frustration is, you point that frustration and talk about how you're the complete opposite. But you always have to ask what they tried in the past. And I love that question because one, it's kind of like a game for myself. I just try to predict what the other person's gonna say. But creating an offer isn't like when you create an offer in a discovery call, it can't just be the same shit for everybody. Everyone's got different frustrations. Everyone's got different goals and different things that they're looking for. Your goal is to offer them exactly what they've just told you, if you can offer it. Yeah, the other things that when you summarize it, the one of the best skills that you can develop in the discovery call is like you can summarize someone's problem better than they can, right? When you can do that and you give them so much clarity, and this is especially important when someone's kind of like uh, their thoughts are kind of scattered, and you put everything together in a very cohesive like two or three sentences, and you present it to them as, does that sound right? And they go, yes, and you can feel their shoulders fucking drop. That is fucking trust. Like trust is like when you can summarize someone's problems better than they can because they feel like wow, someone finally gets it. And there's so many common problems that people kind of come across. Like, what are the most common things that you end up summarizing for people? The other things that I'll add, it's like the most common ones that I see, it's like, okay, it sounds like, because in New York City, people have like access to everything. It's like, okay, it sounds like you've done a shit ton of physical therapy and it's been super, super easy. Like it never got you, maybe in the beginning it was kind of difficult, but you kind of kept doing the same exercises. And like by month two or month three, it just felt like you're getting babysat. Uh, PT kind of told you to go try things and go back to training, and you went to your trainer, and the training was too hard, and your personal trainer like didn't know how to like work around your injuries, and there's like no one communicating. So you kind of got into the point where physical therapy is too easy, but training is too hard. Does that sound right? And people are like, yes, exactly. I'm like, oh, perfect, because that's exactly what we do. We show people how to go from the physical therapy rehab exercises to a lot of the high performance things. Other things that we'll kind of get, it's like, okay, it sounds like you went to a doctor, you were told one thing, you went to a physical therapist, you're told another thing, a chiropractor, a massage therapist, and everyone's kind of telling you sometimes it's a big toe issue, a shoulder issue, a whatever issue, a diaphragm issue, and you're just like super confused, and you have no one's actually explained to you how you're going to go from point A to point B to point C to point D. Does that sound correct? Yes. Okay. Awesome. Because what we do in a clinic within that first evaluation is we show you exactly what's going on, and we explain things in layman's terms. It shouldn't be that complicated. You'll know exactly what's going on when we draw things out on a whiteboard and we explain how all of these things are connected, and you'll finally get the clarity that you want. Right? It won't be any sort of guessing game. We're not going to have to like put a magnifying glass to figure out if this is the real thing. It's an elephant in a room, and I'll show you exactly what it is. And those people are just like, yes. So people are just typically for like plan transparency. Whatever the problem is, you got to summarize it for them and then show them once they agree that that's what they're missing, that you can provide it. Um, talk to, I think like some people starting might be like, why are you guys taking deposits for the eval and stuff like that? What's the most important thing for you? That's the more you normalize something, right, the easier it is for the other person to do it. And someone goes like, "Whoa, you guys take the card deposits?" Like, yeah, we've worked with so many people. We do this for every single patient that comes through. They're like, oh, okay. There's a video of this one guy. Yeah, gets big. Everything gets easier when you get bigger because you go, oh, that's just the company policy is. When you're a solo provider, it's like, well, don't you make the policy? It's like there's a video of a guy dancing right in the park by himself. I'm not sure you ever watched this video, and it was like, how long does it take for like it's for the whole park to start dancing? The first person to join him, it takes him about like 10 minutes or something of dancing by himself. Then like the third person that joins takes like 5 minutes. The fourth person that joins takes like 3 minutes. And slowly it's a dance party and people are getting added into this dance party like every 30 seconds, right? And all that shows us from a psychology perspective is it's much easier to do something when everyone else is doing it. So if you just normalize the fact that you take a deposit and this is what everyone does, well, you don't want to be that person that's like stirring more trouble, right? It's like, oh, I don't want to be the person that just burdens them. Like everyone does this. It's the same thing in like tipping, right? If everyone tips, then you tip. That's what happens. If you go to another country and no one tips, and it's weird to not tip. It's weird to tip, right? So it's just like remember whatever behaviors that you're trying to have someone do, normalize it and just make it known that like everyone does this. What is how do you get better at taking discovery calls? Like for you, like what are some things that you've done to get better at taking discovery calls? Yeah, I'm working on this kind of bit. Kind of got to the point now where I'm like, I freaking talk so much on webinars and presenting to other PTs and stuff like that. There's this one bit that I'm working on in my mind, and I guess I'll hash it out now. It's like we have to stop pathologizing things that are normal, right? Like when you're starting a new skill, feeling awkward and doing things that are uncomfortable, that's normal, right? It's not a sign that you're not meant to do things like this. I think oftentimes right now it's like we've gotten to the phase where like we want things to be good so quickly that we pathologize. It's like, oh well, couldn't be me. Can't that this is not the type of person I am, right? Can't take a sales call because it's awkward, and everyone seems to be supernatural at this. It's like stop pathologizing normal things that are part of the process, right? Like when you're doing these things, if you just keep doing the self discovery calls and you don't do any reflecting on what could have been better, what you could have changed, like you're going to be fucked. It's not about 10,000 hours of doing discovery calls. It's about 10,000 iterations. Every single time that you do something, are you reiterating and making it better? And that's all you need. If you are doing that, you're going to freaking crush discovery calls, right? If there's one thing you get from this podcast episode is stop pathologizing normal shit and just keep reiterating. Like you can't lose if you keep reiterating. Yeah. Oh man, anything else on discovery calls? Dude, your hotspot just went fucking wild. Your connection got jacked up. No, but
Off at.
dude, I heard nothing. It's this is the only technical difficulty episode. Riverside's gonna do a good job of kind of
Chopping it
taking
up,
out
meshing it up.
chopping
Yeah.
AI, shots AI, but you left it off at the point that you were making was you had someone that came in and it was after 2 years,
Yeah.
and it's not just about following up and trying to get business, but actually caring.
Yeah.
And then that's how you went.
I think yeah, that's the main thing is I think a lot of times people give up after like the first one or two no's. Right. But I think yeah, if you can have a system that just continues to reach out to them, show them that like, hey, we're still here if you need me, then like at some point people will get the help that they need, but that you need that persistency and don't be afraid to hear no. It's like it's part of it's a very normal part of the game.
Yeah, I think the last thing to think about is If you knew that you're 100 no's away from fucking building the business and the life that you want, how quickly would you do those fucking no's? You would start
Sheesh.
collecting no's. You know what I'm saying? Like you would be like, yo, please, I want to get rejected,
Yeah,
right? It's the same thing if you are in a dating scene. Like you're just not going to meet the one for you until you've been rejected or been in certain relationships, etc. Like everything is a learning process, and the
yeah,
quicker you learn to make these mistakes and grow from them, the quicker you'll be to get to where you want to be.
dude, fire. That's a banger of a line right there, man. If you knew you're 100 no's from the business of your dreams, and I think that's such a great point because if you can learn one thing that's new from every single no that you get, and you re-optimize your script based on that, then yeah, like your framework and your script will be 100 times better after all those no's. But you won't be able to get it to that point if you don't get those no's in the first place, man. So yeah, I think that's awesome. That's big.
Listen, we're closing off right now. Yo,
How many reviews we got, brother?
we are at 31 5-star reviews.
Let's go.
Listen, yo, can we get this to 35? If we get this to 35 by next week, that would be wild. That would be wild. We'll sing a full ass song if
A
it
full
gets to
song,
35.
yeah. 3 minutes
A
long.
full ass
Intro, outro, verse one, verse two, bridge, everything.
everything. And squad, August 9th, August 10th, GGC live event. We got a couple more tickets. I know we're mentioning it at the end of every single podcast, but we just want to keep it top of mind. Life happens. You're listening and you're like, oh, I'm driving, can't sign up for stuff. Don't ever be trying to sign up for one of our events while you're driving. Stay safe on the road. We want you to be in front of a computer, no distractions. So if you're listening to this, send a little voice memo to yourself and sign up for August 9th or 10th. It's going to be an absolute banger. I'm
Banger.
telling you right now,
Gonna be a
you're gonna want.
blast. And then one thing too, yeah, totally forgot to mention. If you guys want like our phone script, just DM the Go Getters account or DM me or Andy. Just DM us phone script and we'll
Phone,
shoot it over. Yeah, phone script.
phone script, DM it to at gogetterscoaching.com. No, at gogetterscoaching on Instagram, and we got you covered. But if you love this, come on, dog. Let's get this shit to 35 reviews. Appreciate y'all. And we'll catch you